After the Second World War, many countries around the world were becoming free from British control. At that time, the people of Iran took to the streets against their own Shah, determined to overthrow the monarchy that had been ruling for decades. Officially, Iran was under the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, but the real game was being played by Britain and the Soviet Union. The entire drama revolved around power and oil. The massive profits from oil had blinded both countries to such an extent that they were willing to go to any lengths for it. The business had become so profitable that even the United States could not resist entering this power game. The Iranian Revolution became the only revolution in the world where, while removing the monarchy, the people of Iran also decided to turn their country into a religious republic. At a time when democracy was being established across most of the world, Iran was witnessing a bloody struggle to establish Islamic rule. This Islamic revolution in Iran permanently changed the face of West Asia. At the beginning of the 20th century, Iran was ruled by the Qajar dynasty. Without the Shah's permission, no one could do anything in the country. Fed up with the king's autocracy and tyranny, the people of Iran had become rebellious. Gradually, people began uniting against the Shah. Their only demand was the establishment of a parliament in Iran and participation of the people in power. By that time, the majority of Iran's population was Shia, so people also wanted Shia Islam to be declared the official religion of Iran. Seeing millions uniting, Shah Mozaffar ad-Din Shah Qajar got scared and accepted all the reform demands. Following the Shah's approval, in 1906, Iran began its journey as a constitutional monarchy. Now the Shah's power had been significantly reduced. After the reforms, Shia became the official religion, a parliament was established, and a prime minister was elected as the people's representative. Although the Shah still held considerable influence, he could no longer make decisions unilaterally. He had to consult the elected members and parliament. Iran was changing. Finally, people could see the glimpse of the modern era they had fought for. Although true democracy and secularism had not yet fully taken root, people were happy. They finally had rights. Peace began returning to Iran. However, this peace and constitutional reform did not last long in Iran. Just a few months after the reforms, on 3 January 1907, Mozaffar ad-Din Shah Qajar died. In 1907, Muhammad Ali Shah Qajar became the new Shah. As soon as he took the throne, Ali Shah once again plunged Iran's future into darkness. He abolished all the reforms accepted by Mozaffar ad-Din, refused to accept the constitution, dissolved the elected representatives and prime minister, and destroyed the Iranian parliament. Britain and Russia were openly supporting Ali Shah's autocracy. The Iranian people were already frustrated with foreign interference, and this behavior by Britain and Russia further inflamed their anger. Those who had fought for constitutional reforms once again organized themselves. They gathered in Tehran to remove the new Shah. Another rebellion erupted in Iran, and once again, the Shah was forced to leave the throne. This time, however, the revolutionaries installed the Shah's own son, Ahmad Shah Qajar, as the new Shah. In 1909, the constitution was re-established to some extent, but Britain and Russia continued to keep a close eye on Iran. Due to centuries-old rivalry over Central Asia and Persia, both countries wanted to maintain influence over Iran. They needed a puppet government that would grant foreign concessions and support their interests. But with the change in power, their grip had weakened, so they were looking for an opportunity to once again stage a coup in Iran. In 1914, the First World War began. Powerful countries of that time divided into two groups and fought each other for 5 years. The war finally ended in 1919. Among the victorious countries were Britain and Russia, later Soviet Union. But even after winning, Britain was in terrible economic shape. Massive military spending had devastated its economy, and it desperately needed money to recover. Britain's eyes fell on the vast oil and gas reserves in Iran. Earlier, Britain had been earning huge profits by selling Iranian oil, but after the power shift, it no longer had the same monopoly. So Britain began conspiring to remove Ahmad Shah Qajar's government. In 1921, with the support of an Iranian army general named Reza Khan, Britain orchestrated a coup in Iran. After this event, the Qajar dynasty ended forever in Iran. Iran became a constitutional monarchy once again. Although the Majlis Pulim initially refused to accept Reza Khan as Shah, in 1925 the National Assembly appointed him as the Shah of Iran. Reza Khan established the Pahlavi dynasty and came to be known as Reza Shah Pahlavi. Persia had always been squeezed between British and Russian regional ambitions, but after the discovery of crude oil in 1901, Britain became even more eager to control Iran and its oil. On 14 April 1909, Britain established the Anglo-Persian Oil Company and by 1914 became its majority shareholder, thus gaining monopoly over Iranian oil. No one except Britain was allowed to explore, extract, or sell Iranian oil. While Britain earned huge profits, Iran received almost nothing, only 16% of the profits. Iranians were deeply angry about this and wanted Reza Khan to negotiate a higher profit share with Britain. But being a British puppet, Reza Khan cared little about oil resources. He only wanted to stay in power. Reza Shah began changing long-standing practices in Iran. He first introduced reforms in education and judiciary. Secular courts replaced Shia religious courts, causing the influence of ulema to decline rapidly. Schools and colleges were opened for both boys and girls everywhere. In 1934, Tehran University was established. Reza Shah advocated equal participation of women in every field. At that time, women in Iran faced many restrictions. Wearing hijab was mandatory before stepping out. So, in the name of bringing equality to society, in 1936, he introduced kashfa hijab, banning the veil across the country. The minimum marriage age was raised, and divorce laws previously heavily favoring husbands were made more just. As a result, women's status in Iran improved significantly. At the same time, he removed Shia as the official religion and tried to establish a secular government. On the other hand, he banned trade unions and other political parties. Newspapers that criticized him were either shut down or forced to write in his favor. The ulema became furious at the declining religious influence, modernization, and women's rights. They strongly opposed Reza Shah, but drunk on power, Reza Shah ignored them and, with British help, suppressed all opposing voices. Now even Reza Shah, who earlier followed Britain's orders, wanted to reduce British and Soviet influence in Iran. That's why in the 1930s he began trading with Germany. By 1938, Germany had become Iran's largest trading partner. The very next year, in 1939, the Second World War began. In this war, the Soviet Union, Britain, and America fought against Germany. Both Soviet Union and Britain had their eyes on Iran's oil resources. They wanted to ensure Germany could not buy and use it. Britain feared that Iran's Abadan refinery might fall into German hands. Allied powers wanted to use Iranian oil for themselves in World War II. Moreover, Iran's strategic location was crucial for supplying American weapons to the Soviet Union via Iran. To secure these supply lines, Britain and the Soviet Union could not afford any mistakes. Britain demanded that Reza Shah expel all Germans living in Iran. When the Shah refused, it cost him dearly. In 1941, he was forced to abdicate. His son, Mohammad Reza Shah, was installed as the new Shah. Upon taking the throne, Mohammad Reza Shah immediately lifted his father's kashfa hijab policy and gave women freedom to dress as they wished. Economic activity increased compared to before. The ban on press and political parties was removed, leading to the formation of many political groups, including the British-backed National Will Party and the Soviet-backed Communist Tudeh Party. But the constitution still remained in place, with the difference that the Prime Minister and other representatives were Shah's supporters. The Iranian people strongly opposed this and demanded fair elections to choose their Prime Minister. Seeing the growing anger, the Shah was forced to hold elections in 1951. On 28 April 1951, Mohammad Mossadegh became Prime Minister. Immediately after taking office, Mossadegh nationalized all of Iran's oil resources, ending Britain's control forever. Britain reacted furiously by imposing economic sanctions on Iran and taking the case to the International Court of Justice. However, the court did not intervene in Iran's favor. This decision sent waves of joy across Iran. Mossadegh became a national hero. But Britain was far from happy and began planning to remove Mossadegh from power. Mossadegh learned about Britain's conspiracy. In October 1952, he declared Britain an enemy country and severed all diplomatic relations. Handling the issue alone became difficult for Britain. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill asked US President Harry S. Truman for help in launching a military operation in Iran, but America refused. Churchill did not have to wait long. In 1952, US elections took place and Dwight D. Eisenhower became the new president. With the change in government, America's stance on Iran also changed. The US assigned its agency CIA, along with Britain's MI6, to remove Mossadegh. On 15 August 1953, the CIA made its first attempt, but failed badly. The coup did not succeed, and the Shah had to flee to Italy. But in the CIA's next move, on 19 August 1953, Mossadegh was arrested and removed from power. Thanks to the British-American coup, Mohammad Reza Shah returned to the throne and once again appointed a prime minister of his choice. By now, the Shah clearly understood that without development, he could not rule Iran. But this time, his throne came courtesy of America, so he had to follow America's instructions in everything he did. As American influence grew, Soviet influence in Iran declined sharply. America took its place. In 1957, with help from American and Israeli intelligence, the Shah created a secret police organization called SAVAK, Organization of National Security and Information, to crush opposition voices. With SAVAK's help, the Shah brutally suppressed anyone who spoke against him, making SAVAK a symbol of terror in Iranian society. People began feeling that the Shah was turning Iran into an American colony. By the 1960s, the number of rebels against the Shah had increased significantly. To reduce rebellion and win over farmers and the middle class, in 1963, the Shah launched the White Revolution, an aggressive modernization program. Through this revolution, the Shah wanted to turn Iran into a global power. Massive development took place, land reforms were carried out, forests were nationalized, factories and infrastructure expanded rapidly, and the oil industry grew quickly. Iran's share of oil revenue increased, strengthening the economy. The Shah also worked for women's rights, giving them voting rights and opening many schools and colleges for girls' education. Boys and girls could now study together. This rapid westernization did not sit well with conservative Iranians. They accused the Shah of destroying Iranian culture. Orthodox Muslims still wanted Islamic rule. Although the White Revolution brought development, its benefits mostly went to the rich. The poor and middle class remained helpless. Inflation kept rising. Youth unemployment soared, pushing young Iranians onto the streets to openly protest against the government and the Shah. Around this time, a religious leader named Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini was gaining huge popularity. He strongly opposed women's rights and wanted Iran to be governed according to Islamic principles. He fiercely criticized the White Revolution, claiming it was promoting Western culture in Iran. He also accused the Shah of misusing power. In 1963, Khomeini issued a declaration against the Shah's policies, signed by 8 other religious scholars. Because the majority of Iranians were Shia, Khomeini's supporters grew rapidly in a short time. He soon became a major concern for Mohammad Reza Shah and Prime Minister Hassan Ali Mansour, so they arrested Khomeini and sent him to jail. After his release, he was exiled from Iran. He went to neighboring Iraq. But even there, he did not remain silent. Through interviews and speeches, he stayed in touch with the people. He spoke of ruling Iran under Velayat-e-Faqih Ikayanship of the Islamic jurist, where God's rule would prevail. Religious experts would act as Allah's messengers and guardians. Poverty and inequality would end, and everyone would be treated equally. This theory resonated deeply. People became his staunch supporters, and Khomeini grew even more popular. But his growing popularity did not sit well with Iraq's ruler, Saddam Hussein, who later expelled Khomeini from Iraq as well. Meanwhile, back in Iran, the Shah's autocracy showed no signs of stopping. In 1971, the 2500th anniversary of the Persian Empire was approaching. To make it memorable, the Then, a major incident occurred. On 23 October 1977, Khomeini's eldest son Mustafa Khomeini died under mysterious circumstances. Protesters accused the Shah of having him killed. This event further inflamed the public. Memorial ceremonies were held in many places. People united even more strongly against the Shah. On 7 January 1978, an Iranian newspaper published an article titled "Iran and Red and Black Colonization," insulting Khomeini by calling him a British agent and a mad Indian poet. By then, Khomeini had become a national hero. The article, believed to be published at the Shah and government's behest, poured fuel on the fire. Suddenly, hundreds of thousands of Khomeini's supporters began protesting across Tehran. Crowds even tried to surround the Shah's residence, but security forces dispersed them forcefully. The peaceful protest turned aggressive. Police opened fire, killing over 300 people. But instead of stopping, protests grew even stronger, happening daily. A few months later, another devastating event shook the entire country. On 19 August 1978, 4 extremists set fire to Cinema Rex, burning alive over 400 people inside. This incident turned the Shah into a complete villain in the public's eyes. Khomeini blamed the Shah and his secret police Savak for the tragedy. The atmosphere became so charged that most people believed the Shah and his police were responsible. This attack became one of the key triggers of the 1979 Iranian Revolution. After this, nearly 10,000 people took to the streets, demanding the complete destruction of the Shah's regime. Everyone chanted the same slogan, "Burn the Shah too," for this crime. Somehow, the crowds were controlled. But the next month, on 4 September, millions could easily gather. To prevent them from becoming obstacles later, Khomeini gradually sidelined them. In 1979, a referendum was held to approve a new constitution. Over 98% voted in favor. Under the new constitution, Iran was declared an Islamic Republic. Elections, parliament, and a president were to be established. Above all, the post of supreme leader was created, the most powerful position in Iran. The supreme leader could overturn any decision by parliament or the president and appoint the chief justice and army chief as he wished. With these immense powers, Ruhollah Khomeini became Iran's first supreme leader. Under the new constitution, Iran would be governed according to Sharia law, and this would be permanent. To protect the supreme leader and preserve the constitution forever, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was formed. From that time until today, Iran has remained an Islamic republic, governed according to Sharia law.